All right, the wireframe process for all three layouts is complete. We're now ready to start focusing in on the design that we're going to apply to the three wireframe layouts inside Photoshop. But as you can see, I'm not looking at Photoshop just yet, because there's one quick thing that I want to do in Illustrator here with you before we move the wireframe over into Photoshop. So one final thing that we'll do here in Illustrator to prepare the wireframe for Photoshop. So what I'm going to do here, of course, I find myself on my desktop here. I'm going to head into my Work Files folder there on my desktop, and I'm going to start off with my high-resolution wireframe. So, of course, I'm going to go and find the .ai, the Adobe Illustrator file, for my high-resolution wireframe, and I'm going to go ahead and double-click on them to open them up here inside Illustrator. Okay? Now, we don't have to do this step, but I think if we run through this process that we're about to go through, I think it's going to make life a lot easier over inside Photoshop. All I'm going to do here, it's a really simple process, is I'm going to get rid of the strokes, the outlines on all of my wireframe objects throughout the entire layout. Okay, so it's actually going to be a really easy and straightforward process here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the header here, for instance, at the very top of my layout, and then down towards the bottom area of the toolbox, I'm going to make sure that my stroke swatch is on top. You might have to tap your X key on your keyboard. And then all I'm going to do next is I'm going to tap my / key on my keyboard. The same key that has the question mark on it, by the way, not a backslash, a /. And that will toast the stroke, as you can see, from the selected object. Okay? And I'll do the same for my menu. I'll grab the menu, and of course the stroke swatch is still in the foreground, and I'll tap my / key on my keyboard to get rid of that stroke. Okay? Again, I think this is going to make life a lot easier for us over inside Photoshop. Okay, now let's speed things up here a little bit. We have a few more objects to go. I'm going to grab my slideshow, and then holding down Shift, I'm going to grab my 3 content boxes. And let's see, I'm going to scroll down here just a little bit, still holding down Shift, and I'll grab my footer as well. Okay, so I have all 4 objects selected. The stroke swatch is still on top, and I'll hit the / key on my keyboard once again to get rid of the strokes on all of those objects simultaneously. Okay, so there we go. Now that that is complete, we can get this guy over inside Photoshop. But before we do that, let's go ahead and save our document. Control or Command S on your keyboard to make sure that your changes are indeed saved. Okay, and as I say, this is optional. I think it's going to make life a lot easier when we get the layout over inside Photoshop, which is what you and I are going to do next.